Hi parents, it's Kelly Pfeiffer with Think It Through Parenting. I'm a positive discipline lead trainer, and on this video I'm going to give you a couple of tips that will help your child learn problem solving. So parents usually want a child to learn problem solving skills. That sounds very important to most parents. But then parents often are uncomfortable when children have problems. So in order for children to learn problem solving, children are going to have problems to solve. So that's one shift you need to make in your head if you want your kid to learn problem solving. So positive discipline is really big on giving children as much responsibility as possible, as soon as possible. So children as young as toddlers can learn to solve problems. So here's a little example about a toddler solving a problem, and then I'll give some other examples for other ages. So if a toddler is just trying to do something like crawl through a small space and they can't figure out how to get their body through that space, many parents would just walk over and pull the child through, or show the child, here, put your foot here, or turn this way. And so we can just give children problem-solving skills by learning to ask good questions. So I have 3 positive discipline tool cards that go with this. The first one is about problem solving. Use daily challenges as opportunities to practice problem solving with your children. And the other tool card is about those questions I was talking about. Ask curiosity questions. Asking instead of telling invites children to think and choose. So back to that toddler example, you could say, "Oh, you're stuck. Wow, what are you going to do? What can you do to try? Oh, that didn't work. Wow, what else are you going to try? What can you think of? What might work?" And know that toddlers have very little patience, and they may get upset after they've tried a few times and can't find something to work. And that is totally age appropriate, totally what I would predict to happen. But we can help children, even that young, learn to try new things and to practice patience while they're trying to solve problems. So another idea for problem solving for a preschooler would be offering limited choices. So how do you want to get into your car seat? Do you want to slither like a snake, or do you want to crawl like a crab? 3- and 4-year-olds, preschoolers love pretending. So the tool of problem solving sometimes is about getting into your child's world and seeing the world from that point of view to help the child problem solve. So you could even take those limited choices and go back to the toddler example and ask the toddler, "Hey, do you want to put your foot through first or your head through first?" To help them try and solve that problem of getting through the small space. So we've got curiosity questions, but we can also turn curiosity questions into 2 different choices, limited choices, to help with problem solving. And then as children get older, they can create something called a wheel of choice. And then instead of limited choices, there are many more choices, maybe 6 to 8 choices. And the choice wheel works real well when siblings are fighting, and all these choices would be ways to solve a problem with another person. So that is another really fantastic tool from positive discipline to solve problems, help children, teach children to solve problems. And again, we want to use those curiosity questions. Hey, would it help to choose something from the wheel of choice? Which one of these choices do you think would help in this situation? Another problem-solving tool that positive discipline has. And then with teenagers and older children, we can even just do a long brainstorm. Okay, you've got this problem. What are all the ideas we can think of? You could do this with some elementary school age children too. So here are all our ideas. And now that we've brainstormed, let's evaluate which idea we think would work best. And let's try that idea for a few weeks. And then we'll come back and evaluate and see how things are going. So in order to teach your child problem solving, parents, you have to let your child struggle and try and figure out some things that maybe don't work first before they find the solution that does finally work. So as parents, we have to try to be more comfortable with watching that struggle. We have to practice our patience as we watch our child problem solve. Because if we just come in and solve the problem for the child, or tell the child that idea is not going to work, you need to pick this other one, our child will not learn problem solving skills. They will learn to come to someone else to say, hey, can you solve this problem for me? Because we're not giving them the power, we're not giving them the encouragement that they can solve problems, that they can be a problem solver. So we have to express faith in them to solve the problem, faith in them to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, and then encouragement when they make the mistakes. Well, what else can you try? And so that comes to our final conclusion of which problems do we give to children to solve. So we gradually give them bigger and bigger problems to solve over the years. So we don't let them solve every single problem as a toddler, of course. They don't need to decide what's for dinner. That's too much stress to give to a child, and that's our job, of course. So gradually give children more and more problems to solve, and problems that teach life skills are some of the best problems for children to solve. So even when a toddler is trying to get the food in their mouth, and they're going to get it everywhere at first, and that's fine. So using their fingers would be the first way that they're going to feed themselves. And then later when they're using the spoon, they're going to make lots of mistakes. So we can ask questions. So, how much do you need to put on the spoon? We don't have to ask questions all the time, but the idea is that our children don't think when we tell them what to do. They think and they learn problem solving when we ask them really good questions, and then don't give them the answers. So give your children age-appropriate problems to solve, and not every problem, but especially the problems that are routine problems, like, okay, the room is messy all the time. We need to figure out how to solve that problem. Or we are having trouble getting out of the door on time in the morning. What ideas do you all have for solving this problem? So many opportunities for problem solving. I'm sure that you will find many this week, and I hope you will choose one and encourage your child to solve it, or help solve it, or offer some ideas for solving the problem. And I send out a newsletter each week with a positive discipline tool. And so this week's newsletter is about problem solving. I will put a link to that newsletter below this video, and you can read even more ideas about teaching problem solving. And I've got links to some articles and videos by Dr. Jane Nelson, who wrote the book Positive Discipline. Over here? No, over here. It's hard to figure out this camera thing. So I will put a link to the newsletter there, and you can subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll get it in your email box every week. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a subscribe button here as well. So hope you have a great week. It's Kelly Pfeiffer with Think It Through Parenting. I'm a positive discipline lead trainer. I love working with parents, and I have a website and a newsletter, and I hope you will have fun teaching your children to solve problems.